Hello and welcome everyone to the Summer 2022 Challenger Learning Center contact via amateur radio on the International Space Station, also known as ARISS. My name is Lauren Fuchs and I represent Challenger Center. We are the headquarters for Challenger Learning Centers located across the United States and internationally. Together, we inspire the next generation of explorers through space-themed simulated experiences. I am so excited to welcome everyone who's viewing our live stream for today's contact, where our campers and learners will be talking with NASA astronaut Bob Hines as he and his Expedition 67 crewmates orbit 257 miles above the Earth. They're conducting scientific research and experiments aboard the International Space Station, also known as ISS. But before we get started with the contact, we want to welcome and introduce everyone on our live stream today. We have campers joining us from 7 Challenger Learning Centers located across the United States. I'm going to welcome each of our centers, starting with the Northeast, and then I'm going to move down and around the eastern and central parts of our country. I will get it started by welcoming the Challenger Learning Center of Maine.
Hello from Bangor, Maine.
Now the Challenger Learning Center of the Twin Tier region.
Hello from Allegheny.
Now the town of Ramapo Challenger Learning Center.
Greetings from the town of Ramapo.
The Bueller Challenger and Science Center.
Greetings from Paramus.
The Challenger Learning Center of Northwest Indiana.
Greetings from Hammond, Indiana.
The Challenger Learning Center Louisville.
Hello from Louisville, Kentucky.
And finally, the Scobie Education Center at San Antonio College. Welcome, everyone. We're very excited for you all to be here. I am pleased to represent Challenger Center headquarters. As I said, we have offices both in Washington, D.C. and Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm joined here today by my colleague, Sarah Espinosa. And we want to give you a little bit more of a background. So we're going to watch a video and you're going to learn a little bit more about Challenger Center.
Greetings, astronauts, and welcome to the Challenger Learning Center. In January 1986, the crew of Space Shuttle Challenger perished in an accident shortly after launch. Challenger Center was created to continue the educational mission and carry on the legacy of the heroic Challenger astronauts. Today, you will be among students at Challenger Learning Centers across the United States and around the world who participate in an exciting mission full of exploration and discovery. Just like the teams at space agencies worldwide, you have an important role as a member of a team that must work together to successfully complete your mission objectives. You will learn about science, technology, engineering, and math, or what you may hear called STEM, and how to apply these skills to your mission. While exploring space today, you'll have the chance to learn about a variety of careers in STEM fields. Engineers, nurses, geologists, computer programmers, and mechanics are just a few of the STEM careers available to you. All STEM careers and your mission today require teamwork and problem solving. We hope today's experience helps open your eyes to new opportunities and inspires you to continue learning more about STEM for years to come. Each person plays a critical role in today's mission. We can't be successful without you. Okay, astronauts, are you ready to launch today's mission? Good luck. We're counting on you.
So I wanted to let you know that it's not just the Challenger Center teams that are very excited for you all to have contact with the ISS today. We have a really great message from former astronaut and physician Scott Parazynski.
Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Scott Parazynski, and I'm a physician, inventor, and former NASA astronaut, as well as a Challenger Center ambassador. During some of my nearly 2 months in space, I had an opportunity to perform 7 spacewalks and even helped assemble and repair the International Space Station. You're about to talk to some of my astronaut colleagues aboard the ISS right now. I'm sure they're really excited to talk to you. Go for launch.
Hello, my name is Serena.
So we're very excited for you all to talk to Bob Hines, the astronaut today, and obviously to hear from some of our other former astronauts who are champions of Challenger Center. But we wanted to let you know that it takes the skills and hard work of many people with different backgrounds and jobs to successfully explore space and learn more about our universe and beyond. NASA employs scientists, engineers, communications specialists, and many more for their missions. You're going to hear a message now from one of their engineers who works on NASA's deep space missions.
Hello, my name is Serena Nepan, and I'm a systems engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. In my job, I help science missions interface with the Deep Space Network, or the DSN. The DSN is a network of antennas around the world that are used to communicate with any spacecraft that goes to the moon and beyond. When a mission is launched, this room is filled with engineers monitoring the health of a spacecraft. I know you'll have fun and learn a lot from the astronauts aboard the ISS. I'm very passionate about my work in engineering and getting to work with my colleagues in other areas of science, math, technology, communications, and many more. There are so many great STEM jobs here at NASA and in other organizations and industries all over the country and world. I hope to see you at one of these jobs in the future.
Greetings.
So we are going to hear as well from former astronaut and teacher, Barbara Morgan. She knows firsthand how exciting it is talking to young learners from the ISS via amateur radio. But let's hear a little bit more from Barbara herself.
Earthlings. My name is Barbara Morgan. I'm a retired astronaut and a friend of my favorite organization on this planet and beyond, the Challenger Center. I'm so excited for you today as you are all across the country at our various Challenger Learning Centers, getting to do an ARISS, a ham radio contact with the astronauts on board the International Space Station. You are in for a real treat. And I can tell you that the astronauts on board the International Space Station are too. They are just as excited as you are. They can't wait to hear your questions, and they can't wait to share with you their marvelous experiences and what they're doing on the International Space Station. So I'm actually not in space today with you, but I'm at my home in Idaho. But I put up my favorite picture from my mission, from my crewmates in my mission as we were building the International Space Station, to just share a little bit about you with you ahead of time. So I'm going to change the picture for just a moment. I wanted you to have a chance to see. Let me move out of the way. What the astronauts on board are going to be like. There I am many years ago with the ham radio doing an ARISS contact with students all over the country. And that's why I know our astronauts are going to love it today with you all, because it's just something we really, really enjoy. I want to leave you with this message. We care very much about you. Those astronauts you're going to speak to today care very much about you and your futures. We want you to dream the biggest dreams you can and work hard, stick with it, because for you, truly, you can reach for the stars and the sky is no limit. Thanks, and have a wonderful ARISS contact.
Hello, everyone. I'm Norm Suteria, and I will be your amateur radio moderator for today's exciting contact with astronaut Bob Hines, who is currently aboard the International Space Station. My amateur radio call sign is KB2JRP. I am both a general class amateur radio operator and a mission commander space science educator here at the Bueller Challenger and Science Center in Paramus, New Jersey. Amateur radio on the International Space Station, ARISS, is an international program supported by volunteer amateur radio operators from around the world. Some member organizations of ARISS include the American Radio Relay League in the United States and the worldwide AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Corporations. Our space agency partners include the Canadian Space Agency, CSA, the European Space Agency, ESA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, NASA, and the State Space Corporation, Roscosmos. We would also like to thank CASIS, the Center for the Advancement of Science in Space. They manage the ISS National Laboratory. Through the help of ARISS amateur radio volunteers and the crew on the ISS, we hope to soon establish an amateur radio contact with the International Space Station as it flies more than 250 miles above the Earth over Eastern Australia. This contact will be performed using the ARISS Telebridge Network, a worldwide network of amateur radio satellite ground stations that enable students to talk to astronauts on board the ISS. The amateur radio ground station that will establish contact with the ISS today is VK4KHZ, located in Glendon, Queensland, Australia. Shane Lind is the operator, and for him, it's just before 2 in the morning. Shane, thank you so much for your volunteerism and dedication to ARISS. We truly appreciate your expertise, enthusiasm, and assistance. Please introduce yourself and your station.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. This is Shane Lind, and as Norm's already mentioned, I'm located in Glendon, Queensland, Australia. Now, Glendon is a small semi-remote mining community which is located about 200 kilometres by road from the city of Mackay on the east coast of Australia. Glendon is a fairly small township in that it currently has a population of around 500 people. When I arrived here in this town 19 years ago, we had 1,722 people, and unfortunately it's just the nature of the industry that we're in, being mining, but sometimes our populations peak and dwell. As far as equipment goes today, for those that are interested from the technical side of things, we'll be using a Yaesu FT847, our primary transceiver. Our backup transceiver is also an FT847, so we have two of those that are installed almost identically, driving a power amplifier. In addition to that, we have tracking antennas that just prior to the ISS reaching the horizon, my antennas will track into position, lock onto the ISS, and will track it across the path, which is expected to take about 10 minutes at maximum elevation of around 25 degrees. The location here, we're 386 metres above sea level, so this particular location lends itself very well to amateur radio type activities. I think that's about got us there, Norm, so back over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shane. We really appreciate the introduction. More importantly, we appreciate your time and on the backside of the clock there in Queensland. So very quickly, we have about 12 minutes until our contact, actually a little bit more than that at this point, probably about, let's see, just 25. So our contact is going to be with astronaut Bob Hines. He actually, and a couple of other astronauts on board the station, have their amateur radio licenses. His call sign is KI5QRT, and he's going to be using the amateur radio call sign NA1SS. We have a short video courtesy of the American Radio Relay League, or ARRL, which explains how the upcoming amateur radio contact will be performed and how the contact is about to happen. Let's watch that video.
Hi, my name is Ruth.
And my name is Chris.
You must be pretty excited to talk directly with astronauts on the International Space Station today. While we're waiting for the space station to come over your portion of the sky, let's talk a little bit about how it's going to happen. Of course, Mission Control is in contact with astronauts all the time, using a big radio with lots of fancy equipment.
However, we're going to be using something very different today. We are going to use ham or amateur radio to talk directly to the International Space Station.
When most people hear the word radio, they think of a music radio station, but it's so much more than that. Radio actually refers to the unseen energy that transmits all sorts of signals using electromagnetic waves. At first, people learned how to send signals like Morse code, and then they discovered that you can send so much more, like data, computer signals, and even TV.
Maybe you don't realize it, but you use radio every day. Maybe you watched the TV this morning, or you texted your friends, or maybe even you checked social media like Twitter or Instagram.
Let's travel back to space for a minute. Since the beginning of the space age, humans have sent many spacecraft out into the universe. These range from the Hubble Space Telescope orbiting the Earth daily, and the Curiosity rover exploring Mars. We've even sent a long-distance messenger, the Voyager 1, who has traveled outside of our solar system.
Whether it's capturing a great picture of a far-off galaxy or conducting experiments on the space station, radio has to do with all of these. And today, you're going to be using ham radio. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is ham radio?
Amateur or ham radio is a service and a hobby where operators can talk with people around their neighborhoods, their cities, their country, and even around the world. Amateur radio operators require a radio license from the government. They're not that hard to get. I have one. My call sign is KM4LAO.
And mine is KD8YVJ. Our call signs are a way of identifying who we are to other operators. This lets everyone know that we have the proper license to using the radios.
As amateur radio operators, or hams as we are often called, we can talk with others about basically whatever we want, often science or some new radio gadget that we are interested in.
Let's focus back to the space station and your contact today. Many of the astronauts and cosmonauts aboard the space station are licensed ham radio operators. That's why your operators today can contact them. The people here, as well as the astronauts, are licensed to talk to each other, and you are allowed to talk over to their radio.
For our conversation today, we'll need an amateur radio station on the ground, either in this location or somewhere else around the world. We'll also need a radio in the space station.
NA1SS, NA1SS.
You can hear the calls coming. This is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, the International Space Station, over.
On the space station, the radio transceiver is connected to an amateur radio antenna mounted on the outside. One of these antennas will be used today during our contact.
For our side of the contact, we need a good-sized antenna, a signal amplifier, something to make our signal stronger, and a rotator for turning our antenna. We have to keep our antenna pointed right at the International Space Station. And remember, it's moving across the sky and fast.
To aim the antenna properly, we need to track the path of the space station exactly. NASA uses complex systems to track the path of the space station and other orbiting objects.
The satellite tracking program we are using works out a complicated set of mathematics to provide the orbital location of the space station moment by moment as it moves through space. This information is sent into the computer that controls the antenna rotator, which moves the antenna to follow the space station. Maybe some of you have seen or worked with robotics. That's pretty cool stuff. And just like you can program a robot where to go, what to do, and how to get there, you can also program a computer to tell an antenna how to track the space station across the sky.
You know, it took a lot of planning to get this contact. Several weeks ago, the ARISS operations team had to figure out when the space station's orbit would pass over this location. Then, they had to talk with the planners at NASA's Johnson Space Center. The crew's time is pretty full, so they were able to find a time that could work for the crew members' schedules. Once they found times that would work both in space and here on the ground, the host organized this contact. And in just a few minutes, you'll be hearing and talking to the astronauts.
Well, it's almost time for your contact. It will be exciting, so good luck with it.
Okay, excellent. So we've seen what an ARISS contact looks like from the ground. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to see what it looks like from space on board the International Space Station. We have a short video from astronaut Tim Peake. His call sign is KG5BVI. He's not currently up there, but he recorded this video when he was. And this explains an ARISS contact from his point of view, an astronaut's point of view on board station. Let's take a look.
NA1SS, this is N2FJ, over. NA2FJ from NA1SS for scheduled contact.
Hi everyone, I'm Tim Peake and welcome aboard the International Space Station, where we're orbiting Earth 16 times every day. One of the most rewarding activities that some astronauts undertake on orbit is to talk to schools using the space station's ham radio. Now these are events that are planned by ARISS, which is a worldwide group of amateur radio volunteers who are dedicated to introducing young people and students to science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Now this is the equipment here in the Columbus laboratory, which consists of a handheld radio, a headset, and we also have a ham video unit. Now as the International Space Station orbits above your location, a radio link is established between the ISS and your school. Now because we're travelling at nearly 18,000 miles per hour, which is an incredible 25 times the speed of sound, we usually get about 9 or 10 minutes of good radio contact before losing the signal. So about 5 minutes before the scheduled start time of the contact, I come into the Columbus laboratory and configure the radio so that I'm on the correct channel. And sometimes I'll set up the ham video too. Just before the predicted time, I'll begin to start calling the school using the standard amateur radio calling techniques. For example, if the call sign of your school was GB4 Fun, I would say Golf Bravo 4, Foxtrot Uniform November. This is Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, listening and standing by. Now at your school, the radio operator will be listening for my call, but may also transmit and try to call me as well. You'll probably have a much more powerful transmitter on the ground than we have up here on board, so I'm likely to hear you before you hear me. Then, once we can hear each other, then comes the best bit, which is actually talking to the students and answering the questions. Once I've answered all the questions, we use the remaining time to say goodbye to each other and end the connection. I'll then spend a few minutes configuring the radio back into a rebroadcast mode, and then I'll go back to my day job, which is of course doing science on board the International Space Station. ARISS is a brilliant opportunity for astronauts to talk to school pupils. It's really rewarding to hear how excited the students are when they're talking to somebody up here in space. And it's a true privilege to be able to inspire our next generation of scientists and engineers through amateur radio.
So this is absolutely incredible. We are running a little ahead of schedule, but that is totally fine. We are actually a few minutes away from, probably about 14 minutes away from talking with NASA astronaut Bob Hines. And he is, believe it or not, this is his first time in space. He was a test pilot, so let's learn more about him. He was selected by NASA to join the 2017 astronaut candidate class, and he reported to the astronaut office in August of 2017. He has served more than 21 years in the U.S. Air Force as an instructor pilot, fighter pilot, and a test pilot. Before his selection in 2017, he was a research pilot at NASA's Johnson Space Center. He's accumulated more than 3,500 hours of flight time in 50 different types of aircraft, and he's flown 76 combat missions in 3 different aircraft types while supporting operations around the world. He's currently serving as a pilot on NASA's, and he was the pilot on NASA's SpaceX Crew 4 mission to the International Space Station. And him and his crewmates aboard Expedition 67 launched up there on April 27th, 2022. Let's take a look at a video profile of Bob Hines.
I truly believe that we all have in us an innate desire to go explore and see new things. And we have this phenomenal creation that we've been placed in to learn about how it works. We have a very unique position in our solar system and our galaxy to be able to look out there and to step out and continue to explore. My name is Bob Hines. I'm the pilot for NASA's SpaceX Crew 4 mission to the International Space Station. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My father was in the Army. We were stationed at Fort Bragg, and we moved around a whole bunch. The longest we ever lived anywhere was about 2 to 2.5 years. I got really comfortable showing up in new places and being able to make friends. When I was a kid, I 100% wanted to be a pilot for as long as I can remember. I was just always fascinated, not only that something that big could fly and do some amazing things, but also just the opportunity to go and see things that not many people have had a chance to do. Being able to fly and see the Earth from a new perspective has really been just a real driver for me, and getting hired as an astronaut has been the ultimate call. Contrary to popular belief, being a test pilot is not about flying by the seat of your pants and going out there and just pushing the edge of the envelope all the time. It is a much more scientific and methodical process where we plan out every mission and all the tasks on every mission, and we're constantly mitigating the risks that are associated with that mission. That seems to really dovetail very well with spaceflight, because that's a lot of what we do. My experience as a test pilot and as a pilot and an instructor, I think, have all kind of led me to this point. When I got the phone call offering me the position of the pilot on the Crew 4 mission, it was absolutely amazing. It was actually the day after my birthday when I got the phone call, and I just couldn't believe it. When I told my wife, she couldn't believe it either. I've flown over 3,500 hours in more than 50 different kinds of airplanes, and that ranges from gliders all the way to different kinds of fighter airplanes or large transport category airplanes. I can't wait to pilot this vehicle. It is an incredible honor. It is something that I never in my wildest dreams thought would be a possibility. And so to get a chance to pilot one of the newest vehicles on or off the planet is a true honor. With Chell as our commander and Samantha and Jessica as our mission specialists, it's just going to continue to be an amazing crew and an amazing experience. I am really looking forward to the camaraderie and the time that we'll get to spend together as a crew, the friendships that we'll develop, and so I think continuing that process is one of the things that I'm looking most forward to. On launch day, I am 100% most looking forward to the kick in the pants when those rocket motors light and we are heading off the launch pad. It is going to be the culmination of a lifehood dream, something that just spend your entire life looking for and not ever sure that you're actually going to achieve it.
Our newest astronaut, Bob Hines.
Being an astronaut is an incredible responsibility as well as an incredible honor. Every astronaut recognizes the honor that comes with that, but also the responsibility that comes with representing not only our respective countries, but also the world. And one of the things that we hope to show is that regardless of our nationalities or our backgrounds, when we put our mind to a single mission and we get along, we can accomplish anything.
So while that is a preview of and a profile of Bob Hines, he's not the only one up there. You saw a few other astronauts, and he is up there with the Expedition 67 crew on board the International Space Station. Lauren, tell us some facts. Do you have some facts about the ISS that you could share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about the International Space Station. I think the part I love the most about it is that word international. This has been a beautiful effort for several decades now between numerous different countries around the world who help to build the International Space Station and who help operate it on a regular basis. And so I have some facts that, NASA has on their website about the International Space Station because it is a really amazing effort, global effort. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to see people come together because no one owns space. And so we all have a part in it from all around the world. So a few facts from NASA. This is obviously, as we said, an international partnership of 5 space agencies from 15 countries that operate the International Space Station. It's been continuously occupied since November 2000. So that's when we first sent astronauts to live on the International Space Station. And it really depends. Some astronauts will be up there for a short period of time, maybe just a few weeks or a few months. Some astronauts go for longer periods of time, 6 months to a year. And they do a lot of interesting research, and they have a lot of information that comes back down to Earth. And it's just a really amazing international effort. So an international crew of 7 people live and work while traveling at a speed of 5 miles per second. So not 5 miles per hour, which would be pretty slow if you were driving in a car, 5 miles per second, orbiting the Earth about every 90 minutes. So they're gonna see the whole Earth about every 90 minutes. And so in 24 hours, the space station makes 16 orbits of Earth, traveling through 16 sunrises and sunsets. So we're going to hear a little bit more. There's some great questions about that, I know, for Bob Hines that some of you are going to read. So we'll be looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that from someone who has firsthand experience with it. And so Peggy Whitson is someone who set the US record for spending the most total time living and working in space at 665 days. So she completed her time in space in September 2017. So 665 days. So that's a couple years of her being in space. So that's pretty amazing. And so living and working in the space in the station is larger than a 6-bedroom house. So if you can imagine the size of that, pretty big house there. So what else? I think there's some other interesting facts. Go ahead, Norm.
Hey, Lauren, one other thing too, the actual physical footprint of station is the size of a football field. So right here, adjacent to the Bueller Challenger and Science Center, we actually have a college football field. So imagining that's how big the station is. It's really incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
One other thing, I'd love to give a talk. I just want to, for folks that are looking on the screen, you are seeing a map of where the International Space Station currently is. And it's coming up just about to pass over Australia in just a few minutes. And that's when we are going to make our contact. If you notice, there's this green ring around the space station. That is what they call the footprint. So for radio amateurs and radio operators worldwide, that indicates the where you could actually transmit and receive from the International Space Station. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm sure Shane is looking at the same exact picture at his station there in Glendon, Queensland, Australia. So that's very, very exciting. One other thing I wanted to mention too is that it is a team effort to get to space, to be in space. And the Expedition 67 crew, they have other astronauts on board there as well. They have NASA astronaut Kjell Lindgren. They have NASA astronaut Bob Hines. They have NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins. And then they have ESA astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, as well as cosmonauts. So that is just very, very exciting. And I think we have a very quick video of Jessica Watkins, a preview of her as well. You don't need to be a test pilot to be an astronaut. In fact, Jessica Watkins is a geologist.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Sarah, if you want to stop sharing your screen for a second, I'll go ahead and share mine. I'll pull up that video of Jessica. Thanks. Oh, give me 1 second. I have the wrong video pulled up.
And the wonderful thing is we are actually having our contact during the ISS National Laboratories Research and Development Conference, which is taking place right now as we speak in Washington, D.C. So we might have many more viewers than just all of us here on our Zoom, which is very, very exciting.
Okay, here we go.
A dream feels like a big, faraway goal that's going to be difficult to achieve and something that you might achieve much later in life. But in reality, what a dream is, or a dream realized is just putting one foot in front of the other on a daily basis. And if you put enough of those footprints together, eventually they become a path towards your dreams. My name is Jessica Watkins, and my fellow astronauts would describe me as a rock nerd, endearingly, as what I tell myself at least. One of the things that I enjoy the most about geology intellectually is you kind of function as a detective. You're looking at different puzzle pieces, all kind of in different places, and you're trying to bring those puzzle pieces together to get a full story, a full history of what has happened in a particular place. For me, as somebody who was really interested in the planets, geology provided a means for me to study the surface of another planet, and particularly look at Mars, which was my passion, was just super exciting to me. In college, I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to learn to play rugby. It was one of the best opportunities in my life, getting to play with the rugby team at Stanford and play in national championships and even win one. I think one of the biggest lessons that I take away from my rugby career is the importance of teamwork. Rugby in particular has positions that are all suited to different types of body types, different strengths that people bring to the table. And I think that is not unlike our team here at NASA, where everybody comes and brings their different strengths, their different expertise to form a powerful and winning team.
Maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle. Passing 124.
This endeavor to go to the moon is going to be hard. It's not something that we can do individually. It's not something that we can do on our own. And I think especially in these times, it's really important for us to recognize how much we need each other and the importance of coming together for one goal. And I think that going back to the moon really embodies that.
This is Mission Control Houston. We are now processing telemetry from the Orion spacecraft.
If you enjoyed this,
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lauren. So we are actually just about 3 to 4 minutes away from making contact. And I'm just going to turn it over to Shane in Queensland, Australia, just to do a final check. Shane, can you hear us?
Yeah, I certainly can, Norm. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes, give a thumbs up if you could hear Shane in Australia. All right, we're seeing lots of thumbs up. Excellent. So Shane, very quickly, tell us, how did you get into satellite communications and talking with the space station?
Well, that's an interesting question, Norm, because it goes back quite some time. So I've been a licensed radio amateur now for about 30 years. And back in the year 1998, I think it was, by chance I happened to have a direct radio contact on the Mir space station with Australian-born astronaut Andy Thomas. And at the time, I struck up a bit of a friendship with Andy in the sense that I had several contacts with him and often would call Andy of an evening when I'd come home from work. And on this one particular evening, I had my equipment set up in the living room of the house to demonstrate to my 3 sons just how easy it was to talk into space. And at that time, they were relatively young, I think 6, 8, and 10 years of age. I put out a call. Andy come back and spoke with me, and I then put my young sons on the microphone, and actually 2 of the 3 actually had an opportunity to speak with Andy. And I looked at just the effect it had on those children at the time, and just the sense of excitement, and I guess that's what really sparked things for me. And then not long after that, I think it was only about a year or so, I applied for and facilitated a direct contact in actual fact, at the Zeehan Primary School in Tasmania, Australia. And that was quite an event actually, because I'd done it all by myself, set everything up, and that particular contact went very well. It was well received, and straight after that, I was then asked by the then Australian coordinator for ARISS, Mr. Tony Hutchison, whether I'd be interested in being involved in the program, and never looked back since. But no, look, it's certainly been a very exciting program, something that we've taken a lot of learnings from, and I really enjoy working with the students and integrating with the classroom. And I've lost track, actually, how many of these contacts I've actually done, but there have been quite a few over the years. Back over to you, Norm.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shane. It looks like we're coming up at 1612, 1613 UTC, and we're looking at the map, and it looks as though station is just about to be overhead at your location, Shane. So I'll turn it over to you for the play-by-play and the calling.
Yep, no problem at all, Norm. Yes, the antennas have just tracked into position now, just moving into their position. So we've got about 1 minute and 26 seconds to go before we have acquisition of signal here at my location. So what I'm going to do initially is I'll start calling the station, and it'll just simply be like NA1SS, NA1SS. This is Victor Kilo 4 Kilo Hotel Zulu calling for a scheduled contact. Now, don't be too concerned if we don't get a response immediately, I'll keep calling until such time as we do. And then it's really important that the first group of students standing by ready to unmute and ask their question. And please don't forget to say the word over after the end of the question, because that's my trigger to switch between transmit and receive. Okay, well, we've got about 40 seconds to go, so please stand by and I'll just get the equipment ready to start transmitting.
Excellent, and thanks. Please, all centers, please remember to mute. And for the audiences, please be sure to mute your cell phones at the moment as we get ready to go. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you. Okay, we have about 10 seconds before acquisition of signal, so please stand by. Calling NA1SS, NA1SS, NA1SS. This is Victor Kilo 4, Kilo Hotel Zulu, VK4KHZ, calling for a scheduled contact. Can you receive? Over.
Victor Kilo 4, Zulu, this is NA1SS. I have you 3 by 5.
NA1SS, NA1SS. Good morning to you there, Bob. You're just coming up over the horizon now. I'll just give it just a few more seconds and hopefully you can hear me okay. NA1SS, this is Victor Kilo 4, Kilo Hotel Zulu, over.
Yeah, Victor Kilo 4, Kilo Hotel Zulu, I have you loud and clear now. This is NA1SS, over.
NA1SS, good morning to you, Bob. Bob, we have the students from the Bueller, Challenger and Science Centre in the United States standing by for you. Please go ahead with the first question.
Hi, I'm Fiona W. from Paramus, New Jersey, and my question is, what life experience do you think helped prepare you for being an astronaut? Over.
Well, hi there, Fiona. That is a great question, and I think one of the things that really helped prepare me the most is being on sports teams and learning how my actions affect others and realizing that we all depend on each other and how important that is. And that's a lot of what we have to do up here in space, is work together as a team in order to accomplish our mission.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Penelope Pim from San Antonio, Texas. My question is, what training prepared you for living in smaller spaces for longer periods of time in space? Over.
Hey, Penelope. Good question. Haven't really practiced living in small spaces very much, but I think generally working with other people and being considerate and those kinds of things is what's really important when you have several people working in a small place together. And so just caring for each other and thinking about others when you do things and make decisions. But also, you know, like I said, being on sports teams and then my job as an Air Force pilot, I think also helped prepare me for some of the things that we do up here as well.
Question.
For Elin for Tessa R. Bangor, Maine. Going to space must change your perspective of the world. What is your favorite experience from living in space you like to tell your family and friends? Over.
Hey, Tessa, that is a great question. I think one of the things that is my most favorite thing to do is going and looking out the window and trying to share that with my family and friends when we get to do a video conference or a FaceTime or something like that, and pointing the camera out the window so that they can see what I see is really, really special. I like especially watching sunsets and watching the aurora, the northern and southern lights. Those are really, really beautiful. Over.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Toba Etlinger at the Town of Remville Challenger Center in Airmont, New York. What does space food taste like? Over.
Hey, Toba. Space food tastes a lot like Earth food, although in order to keep us healthy and make sure that we don't have too much bad stuff coming our way, the food scientists remove some of the bad things out of the food, like some of the salt and that kind of thing. So a lot of the food that we eat is a little more bland than it is on Earth, but in general it tastes about the same. Over.
This is Marisol asking for Donovan from Hammond, Indiana. What do you do when you're
equipment needs repair outside the space station? Over.
Hey, good question. So just like any house, things need repaired sometimes, and sometimes we have to go out and fix it. And so we have special spacesuits that provide us all the oxygen and things that we need in order to keep us alive. And so they're like miniature spaceships, and we go outside and we repair the equipment that needs to be repaired, and then we come back in. Over.
Next question.
Hadley asking for Palmer in Louisville, Kentucky. What is the most beautiful thing in space? Over.
I think the most beautiful thing in space is the Earth. Everything else that we see around us is mostly black, and the stars are really beautiful too, but looking back at Earth and seeing the blues and greens is absolutely amazing.
Question.
Hi, I'm William from Olean, New York. And my question is, how did it feel for you personally to go to space? Over. Over.
Hey, William, thank you for asking. That is, it was super, super exciting. It's obviously very emotional when you get to launch, but it is certainly the culmination of a lifelong dream. So it was super exciting and really fun to finally get here on Space Station. Over.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Peyton Tesser from Paramus, New Jersey. And my question is, how are the immune cells tested in the human immune system study? Over.
Hey, Peyton, that's a great question. So microgravity actually causes the cells to age a little bit faster, and so they can see how older cells will react to stem cells. And so we put those two things together, and scientists are able to look at them and then see how the aging immune cells react to stem cells.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Brianna Romius from San Antonio, Texas. I have a question about the Earth's surface mineral dust investigation. How does the heating and cooling of the atmosphere happen, and why do we need to monitor this? Over.
Hey, Brianna, great question. EMIT is a brand new experiment for us that is just now getting installed outside the space station, and it's going to look at dust and how dust travels around the atmosphere and the different kinds of dust. And so scientists don't really understand that yet. So EMIT will start gathering some of that information about where it goes and be able to start evaluating how it affects the climate.
Next question.
Loic for Jessica F. Bangor, Maine. Have you ever seen anything funny or amusing from space? Over.
Hey, Jessica. Yes, we absolutely do. And one of the funniest things that happens is when we lose things, we can't find it and we look all over the place for it. And it might be 2 weeks later or a month later, and sometimes this thing just comes floating by your head that you've been looking for the last month. So that is always really funny when that happens. Over.
Next question.
I'm Bachava at the Town of Redwood Challenger Center in Airmont, New York. Havarivka would like to know, can you put contacts on in space, or do you need to wear glasses? Over.
Hey, good question. Yeah, you can actually wear contacts up here. I don't wear contacts or glasses on the ground, so I don't have any contacts, but if I need them, they send up some glasses just in case. Over.
Next question.
This is Jacob asking with Ben from Hammond, Indiana. Can you see where day and night are on Earth from space? Over.
Hey, Ben, good question. Yeah, so as we travel around the Earth, we see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day, and we travel across the line that separates day from night each time, and so we can see where the shadow is, and that's what separates day and night, and it's really, really cool to see. It's really beautiful. Over.
Next question.
Elon asking for Lillian in Louisville, Kentucky. What does it feel like on station with microgravity? Over.
Hey, Lillian, it's really great being in microgravity. We get to float everywhere, and even when we have to move around, we're unloading a cargo ship that has 3 tons worth of cargo on it, but it's all really easy to move around because it doesn't weigh anything. So it's really awesome, and we get to do all kinds of different flips and things like that when we're playing around too. So it's really fun. Over.
Next question.
Hello, I am William from Olean, New York. What is the most exciting thing you discovered in space? Over.
Hey, that's a really good question, and I think we're learning new things all the time up here. I still am amazed every time I look out the window at how beautiful things are. And like I said before, I think the sunsets up here are the most exciting thing that I discovered, and I just think that they're absolutely amazing, and the amount of colors are just incredible.
Over.
Go.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Grace Yao from Paramus, New Jersey. Who and what inspired you to go to space and possibly the moon? Over.
Hey, that's a good question, too. I was inspired by the first space shuttle launch. I saw that when I was really little, and watching John Young and Bob Crippen do their first landing. And so the space shuttle was, and the whole program was really a big thing that inspired me and got me interested in aerospace when I was younger. Over.
Less than 1 minute before loss of signal. Please go ahead.
Go, San Antonio.
I'm Elena from San Antonio, Texas. What were your emotions when you first stepped on the rocket and knew you were achieving your dreams? Over.
My emotions, I had all kinds. I was super excited, but I was also knew I was going to miss my family. But once we got on the rocket, training kicked in, and we kind of focused on that, and it was just an amazing experience. Over.
Question.
Libby for Alex R. Bangor, Maine. What do you look forward to most when you get home? Over.
I look forward to seeing my family and having a big slice of pizza. Over.
Question. Less than 15 seconds.
I'm Chava Etlinger at the town of Ramapo Challenger Center in Airmont, New York. But Sheva has a hamster called Donut. And she's a little brown dream ball of fluff. Do you have any pets and can you take them to space? Over. Awesome.
I do have pets. We have fish, turtles, and a dog and a cat, but we can't take them to space, unfortunately. Over.
Okay, time to say goodbye to Bob, everyone. We're about to lose signal.
Wave to goodbye. Cheers. All right. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, there I am. I'm unmuted. This was one big experiment, and for the questions that we were not able to answer, we will be sure to make sure to get those taken care of as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. Thanks again. This was an incredible team effort on behalf of ARISS, on behalf of the Challenger Center, on behalf of all the space agencies, and this was just incredible. Thank you so much. I'm turning it back over to Lauren.
Thank you, Norm. And yes, I just want to say congrats to everyone. You all did a fantastic job. I'm sorry to the few questions we didn't get to, but that's how it happens sometimes. We want to, say I hope everyone had fun. I hope you learned a lot. All of our campers all around the country, everyone that was watching the live stream. Again, just on behalf of Challenger Center headquarters, I want to thank Bob Hines, Shane Lynn, and ARISS for this opportunity. I also want to thank, of course, all of our Challenger Learning Center teams. You all give your young learners amazing experiences, not just this today, but every single day. And we really appreciate you. Thank you to everyone. We're going to go ahead and end the live stream. So goodbye and thank you.